Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm Matt Sims. He's Phil Sims, and we're diving in to more free agent talk. We're going to go through some of the teams that have made some recent acquisitions, what we believe teams have done as far as are they doing well in the free agent market? What are still their needs going forward in the draft? And that's what's always fun about free agency. We kind of see where teams are really focusing on to just add depth to their rosters. And that sometimes gives us a little bit of an opening as far as how teams are looking at the draft and who they're going to be drafting early on. And then, of course, other teams, it's a complete mystery until the day of because of all the games that happen behind the scenes. But Big Phil, you said before we went on the air, you want to talk about the San Francisco 49ers team. And specifically, it starts around Brock Purdy, but also, too, just the roster in general. Your thoughts on the state of the San Francisco 49ers organization currently as it stands?
Yeah, well, they got Brent. How about this? Just you look at this.
Yeah.
They got Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, the corner, Hargrave, Deebo Samuel gone. All these guys I just said are gone. And wow, no matter how you look at it, that's a really impressive group there. And I kind of bring that up, and it's really interesting watching everything and listening and reading that it seems to be all this is about. Now we're going to see who Brock Purdy really is, and I just go, oh my God. So the haters are they just can't stand it. They can't wait for this to fall apart. And the 49ers, I asked you this before. You didn't give me an answer, Matt. So we know the roster they had.
Yeah.
And what they've done. And they've got to the championship game. Purdy gets hurt, but they went to 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
By what they're doing. Going to those 2 Super Bowls, even though they lost, was it worth it to take those chances to do what they did with their depth charts and now kind of maybe be in this situation where it's going to be hard to get out of maybe for a year or two? What do you think about that?
I mean, there for a while, we thought that the San Francisco 49ers had one of the best rosters in all of football, and it was there for a 3 or 4 year time period. So for them to accumulate all of the roster spots that they had through the draft, through free agency and trades and whatnot, they did a great job. And I think we have to believe in the franchise, Kyle, John Lynch, and all the team over there that they're going to continue to evaluate football players well. That won't change. And yes, they're in a transition period, no doubt about that. But come on, to participate in 2 Super Bowls, you'd have to be absolutely crazy to say, no, we don't want that. We don't want that,
Yeah,
so it's. But to go back to something that you said earlier, the Brock Purdy situation, the haters out there, of course, they can't wait for it. Yeah. The guys that are out there supporting, like us, and what we think about Brock Purdy, no doubt this year is going to be a little bit of a different challenge for him personally as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. That being said, though, I think really most of the pressure lies a little bit more towards Kyle Shanahan and just, okay, how do you revitalize what you do offensively to help out your quarterback who now has a ton of experience, toughness, leadership, all of that. But you really did make the focal point of your offense around Christian McCaffrey for the past 2 years. And unfortunately, that wear and tear has caught up to him. So, what are your thoughts about that and just kind of the future for Brock and Kyle together?
Well, listen, I don't worry about Kyle as far as how he runs the team, runs the offense, calls plays. Yeah. It's hard to argue with that. I don't care who he puts out there. The problem is
I didn't think it was quite as good last year, though. And of course, that's because Christian McCaffrey's not healthy.
Yeah.
But my problem was, too, is that Kyle, I feel like, did put too much focus into building his offense around Christian for that time period. And when he was gone, it seemed to kind of slip a little.
Well, yes, I agree with that. I think the other thing is, too, when you lose this kind of talent and what they do, even though they still have a lot of guys in that roster, you go, wow, these are some really good players. Yeah. You're designing plays and organizing your team. and it's not as physically, mentally, whatever you want to say, as good as what you had before.
Right.
So, you can help it a little bit, but you can't take somebody that's average and just because of play calls and everything, make him great. They have to do most of that on their own. So, and the Brock Purdy thing, you're right about the haters and, oh, well, we knew he couldn't do it without all this help. But then there's a group of quarterbacks, if things go wrong, well, he just needs more help.
Right.
It's amazing. Some quarterbacks, and I understand it, but, let's try to judge them all fairly. And of course, I watch too much TV, and I read too much. I really do. I don't know why I do it, because what the hell? What else is there to do? And it's like nobody can believe like the initial thought about what they're doing. They're offering Brock Purdy how much? I'm just not going to get into the money thing because that's over my head. And as I always told Boomer Esiason, he would always text me what a quarterback's making or how much he's made in his career. And I'd go, man, I've done this to you before. I go, I don't care.
Yeah. And
then one day last year, he texted me something and I said, yeah, I care now. It bothers me. It's unbelievable, the quarterback situation. So let's turn this around real quick. So there's Kyle, and he's got Brock Purdy. He's paying him. And I heard somebody on the radio talking about this, and I think it was true and real. I was on their radio station out there talking about this, I think the day before the draft. But he got Mac Jones now. Did I say Mac? Matt Jones. Matt Jones, yes.
Mac Jones.
It's Mac Jones. Okay, God, isn't that terrible?
Yeah. You were confusing him with Matt Jones, the former Arkansas quarterback.
Yeah, that didn't work out well. They got him. And I do believe there was a time they really wanted him to be their drafted starting quarterback. They, of course, transitioned, took Trey Lance. That didn't work or whatever. But Mac Jones is kind of built for Kyle's offense. Yeah. Quick reads, get rid of the ball and all that. So that gives him, I think, he had Sam Darnold there the year before. So that they loved him as a backup. And I think they're going to love Mac Jones too, being a backup to Brock Purdy. Gives them a little bit of, if something does happen, because it might be rougher and tougher, and he could get hit more, Brock Purdy, this year, maybe he has in the past, that you need to have that backup quarterback ready to go.
Yeah, of course. And we're in that stage too, or that moment here in the NFL where if you don't have a viable backup quarterback, well, then you're taking a huge risk throughout the entire season. And with all the injuries that we see at the quarterback position every single year, the amount of starters that we see, you're absolutely nuts if you're saying, yeah, we're okay with a guy that is a developmental process and not a guy that has actual snaps under his belt, which Mac Jones does. And he's also a former Pro Bowl football player his rookie year. So he's capable of performing at a high level. And Kyle, Kevin O'Connell, they're all operating now as just this quarterback rehabilitation centers across the country. If you want to find your way again, you can join one of those coaching staffs and figure it out. For the Brock Purdy thing too, just to kind of put a little cherry on top for this discussion. All right, so what if he gets paid a lot of money? He deserves it. We've seen other quarterbacks out there get paid a lot. Trevor Lawrence is it a good example of that? They paid him for not necessarily that he's been outstanding, but the fact that he's really good. And if in a better situation with coaching staff and all that, he can be even better than what he's shown. Well, Brock Purdy has shown that he is as good, if not better, in a lot of situations than a Trevor Lawrence currently in his career. And I think it's crazy for fans out there to try to deny Brock Purdy his ability to get paid because he was Mr. Irrelevant, when all he's done since he started has been very relevant to the 49ers, their success, and what they do offensively. So the man has earned the right to be in that discussion. Now, how much is that contract going to look like? Doesn't matter. But still, you're a starting quarterback in the NFL. You're going to make a lot of money. Justin Fields making a lot of money. He's the projected day one starter for the New York Jets, and he was a backup last year. Brock Purdy, he's been doing a thing at a really high level for this football team and taking them to 2 Super Bowls. He deserves, or 1 Super Bowl, and almost 2. He deserves to be paid for his services and for his future services. So big picture, I think the 49ers, though, will be patient with this process. There's no rush. They can even franchise tag him if they want to do that later on. But I'd be curious to see kind of like what their process is going forward. If it goes really well, all right, you pay him more. If it doesn't go that well, all right, then you're another year down the road as far as understanding where you're going at the quarterback position for the future.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's
Yeah.
we'll see. No, it's all good. We'll see what happens there. I think everybody's kind of following it because of all the veterans they had to let go, and of course, paying the quarterback that big money. Oh, you missed your window because God knows I got to hear this again on TV. Well, rookie quarterback, this time you got to make the move. You got to really do it because you got the okay. You can't do it with the vet, I guess. You can't make it to the Super Bowl with the veteran quarterback. Oh, that's right. We had 2 in the Super Bowl that were veteran quarterbacks. You know me. I like some of this conspiracy theory stuff and everything. And Boomer always, I bring Boomer's name up again twice, and that's enough. I won't ever bring it up again. But he goes, what is it with you and Joe Milton? Well, it's this again. They drafted him last year. He showed his talent. He played really well. And so now you got, Drake May, then you got him backing up. So did we bring Josh Dobbs in to be a third quarterback? I looked at their depth chart before we started. They got him as the backup. And I don't know. I'm just saying this. I don't know the team that I would say go do this, but I think Joe Milton, if you want him, I think you can go up there and get him. And people say the same things. I don't get in arguments. I talk and they go, well, when he's at Tennessee. I said, I don't care what he was at Tennessee. We're past that now. We saw what he is on the NFL field. That's what I'm going by. But just to finish that argument, I thought like this when he was in college. I didn't like him coming out. Both of us liked him a lot. And I thought, he wasn't my guy to look for in the draft to steal, a guy with great talent, because I didn't think he'd be a steal, Matt. I think we said, I was thinking late second, third round, just to skill alone, let's see what we got there.
Right.
And it didn't happen that way. He went in the fifth.
Right.
But I don't know. So I'm a little hung up, but it's just something I look at. I haven't heard much about it. But that move there just told me something again. And I just think he'll be moved probably before the draft or during the draft. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of these free agent signings do kind of point to the direction that the team is going in. And with Josh Dobbs now being added to the roster, I want to say, is it a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal? 2 years. 2 years, $8 million is the deal for Josh Dobbs and the New England Patriots. And yeah, I would say a veteran quarterback, a journeyman, someone who's really shown that he's just a good person that can come in and sudden change situations and perform at a decently high level for you. I think
he's a really good backup, Matt. Really good.
He's a really good backup. You're right. And I think for the New England Patriots, why not try to accumulate, along with your awesome freedom that you have with your salary cap, to acquire a few more picks if possible with your third string quarterback that you really don't have a plan for in the future. He's super talented, but clearly, hey, we got Drake. We're building the team around him. We're going to fortify the fronts on both sides. We're going to make sure that we're a tougher football team. Vrabel's doing all that. And now, let's get some sort of capital for Joe, because he's a talented football player. Now, the question is, where do you see, because Phil Simms, your love affair with Joe Milton, and we know that if you're a GM, you'd be calling the Patriots all day. But where's an ideal situation for him right now, you feel like, in the NFL?
No, I really haven't thought about it to that degree, but but I do think about the Giants.
Yeah.
Just if you get him and you got somebody there, just physically that can wow you if you did have to play him or whatever. Right. So I think the Giants, it's two things for me. Either they're going to get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I do think that would be great. And whatever happens, if they're going to get a quarterback, then I would, being a fan and everything, I hope it's Cam Ward.
Right.
So I'll get into all this draft stuff. I've studied all these quarterbacks a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm looking at my desk here. It's a just disaster. I got, no exaggeration, 100 papers here. And almost all of it is what I've been, you've seen it. Yeah. What I write about the quarterbacks. I've done the tight ends. I'm moving around now, doing all that. Man, a lot of good tight ends, Matt. Oh my gosh.
A lot of
And
good players.
it's like I'm sorry to get off point, but it's the new position that's just every year just giving us good athletes who can run and make plays. And, you don't draft a tight end anymore. Oh, he's a really good blocker. Man, just show your athletic ability and try to get in the way of these guys. Because most of them, as I watch, they're not even good blockers in college. They're just trying to position themselves.
Yeah.
And because, they're playing in big conferences, most of them, and they're trying to block professional football players, and tough to win those wars. But, so where would I don't know where Joe Milton would go. But if the Giants did make a trade for him and the Patriots, now it's Elliott Wolf, the general manager, right?
Yeah.
His father, Ron Wolf, and I'm not sure about all this, but I'm going with it. When he was in Green Bay, he loved to draft a quarterback, even when they didn't need it. And he ended up, trading them, whatever, and had all this capital with quarterbacks. Brooks was one of them, if I remember. He went to New Orleans and had some good years. Aaron Brooks, this is a long time ago. But I think he did it with Hasselbeck. He's had a lot of guys, or he did, and it worked there for a while. And I just wonder if the son is seeing that same playbook and trying to use it a little bit. So I could be wrong in all this, but this is off the top of my head. So there's a lot of things I don't remember in life now, but I kind of remember that with him doing that.
I'm curious too. So for the Giants, let's look at it from this perspective for now.
Yeah.
All right. So the Giants quarterback situation. All right. Currently, their roster, okay. I want to say that maybe it's just Tommy DeVito on the roster. It is. Yeah. It's just Tommy DeVito currently on the roster as their starting quarterback. So for the Giants, you're in the hunt for Russell Wilson. You're in the hunt for Aaron Rodgers. What if Aaron Rodgers, because there are little rumors of Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings being interested in him now.
Right.
What if he decides to go to Minnesota? What if Russell then goes back to Pittsburgh? What then do the Giants do? They got the third pick. Do you go out of your way to make sure that you are getting a quarterback in the top 3 picks? Or does that take away the Joe Milton situation now for you in that?
Probably. Yes, it would. All right, here we go.
Because I'm just saying this. If they trade for Joe Milton and for whatever reason they don't get the veteran quarterback they want, and so now where does the team go?
Well, let me say this. I got it. Yeah. They're not going to trade for Joe Milton. I just don't think that would be in the cards because now, but here it is with me. If the Giants, I hope they get a veteran, whatever. If they get a quarterback in the first round, I want it to be Cam Ward, okay? I don't want it to be anything else. I want to get a veteran quarterback. If I get Cam Ward to go along with it, that's awesome. But if I get the veteran quarterback that's why I was excited about Stafford going to the Giants. If he went there, then the Giants wouldn't have to do anything with the quarterback in the first round. They would get him another position and then draft one of these guys in the second round. Yeah. There's a lot of second round talent at quarterback there. Right. So, but if it all comes down to whatever happens with their quarterback roster, if they can move up to the first pick and get Cam Ward, then I think no matter what they give up, I would say it'd be worth it. Got to be, you got to be really aggressive to make that move. Why? Because Tennessee, I look at them and let's watch their quarterback play last year. How was that? It was, I know it's rough. They weren't a good football team, but it was really bad. The situation was bad.
Yeah.
Not enough players around you, but the quarterbacks came in and threw dynamite on it, made it really bad.
That's right.
And so do you feel like, we got to get over this thing too in the NFL? Well, you got to draft a quarterback and you really got to develop him. Develop him. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? That we're going to fix him physically a little more? And I think that's what they're trying to say. But I don't, listen. It's a league that goes through quarterbacks faster now than ever.
Yeah.
So the time you get one fix, it's over. You got fired, and they're going to get rid of the quarterback, and so that whole thing and talking about it, man. I know you can do certain things mentally and get them more accustomed to the NFL, but all this stuff, you got a chance to groom him and do this and that. man, I don't know. That's
Well, the truth is that in the modern NFL, that 80% of the teams that draft a quarterback in the first round are really just developing that quarterback for the next team that he plays for. And that the other small percentage of the teams out there actually do make it work because they're got good coaching staffs and good organization. They're somewhat organized, and they have a balanced team already where the quarterback can actually do something decent in the beginning of his career.
Yeah, as soon as you say that, Matt, this here, Bryce Young, got a different coach, different system, whatever.
Yeah.
And, oh, my God, I said, well, I'll eat that. I didn't think he was going to make it after that rookie year, but he showed, I think, everybody that he made the adjustment in time. We give him a little time, and I feel bad myself. Man, I was just like, oh, my gosh, I didn't think he was going to be great, and he's not. This past year, watch him.
All right, well, and the truth is that it was bad. The truth was that he did look small. He did look weak when he was throwing the football, and that's the thing too. We don't wish ill on this young man, but damn, it was rough. It was rough. And he was also put in a situation that was not ideal for a young quarterback to walk into.
Right.
And for Cam Ward. So last year with Hard Knocks, we saw Daboll have that interview with Jaden Daniels, that whole talk. You could see that Daboll really liked Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
We saw behind the scenes Shane Daboll, would you trade such and such assets for Jaden Daboll? No hesitation. Yes, definitely would. Do you feel like the Giants should have that type of enthusiasm again for Cam Ward the same way they did for Jaden Daniels? Do you see Cam Ward making, I don't want to say the same impact as Jaden Daniels did in his rookie year, but do you see him making a similar impact in the NFL?
It's not going to be probably even somewhat close to what Jaden Daniels did for many reasons. I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit. They got there, new coaching staff. They formed a good team, and it kind of clicked. And the coordinator was perfect, the personnel, everything for the quarterback. And the quarterback is tremendously talented. Cam Ward is very, very talented. He makes all the throws. I don't want to get in because I will do this for the draft more, but I'm just saying this.
Yeah.
He never he scrambles always to throw the ball, always. Right. And he can make everybody says this a lot, but it's really true with him. He makes so many dynamic plays every game.
Right.
It's not like, oh, well, he had these 3 games are great. Hell, I think I've watched his whole career. And I'm just looking, go, oh my God, that's ridiculous. I write it down. And I do this for you and I, maybe show the plays and what we think of them. I got like 4 sheets of great plays by Cam Ward.
That's right.
So I have 100% go, he's the best quarterback. And if you can get him at number 1, if the Giants can move up and do it, then I'll be shocked. I don't talk to anybody there. I don't know. But I'd be shocked if they wouldn't do it. And it might be more than the public thinks they should give up. Quit worrying about it. How many draft picks are bust every year? A damn ton of them. Yeah. So, yeah. So there's many ways they can go, but it seems like everywhere the Giants say, oh, here's the path to what we want to do, and then it gets blown up. Matt Stafford says, yeah, I was just talking to y'all, but the Rams are paying me. I'm going to go back there because I know.
Let's do this hypothetical then, too. Let's just say for whatever reason, the Tennessee Titans decide to pick Cam Ward with a number 1 pick. The Cleveland Browns then just say, for the sake of this exercise, they go with Shedeur Sanders. Right. So we get quarterback right off the top. Then the Giants at 3. If you're not getting the quarterback you want there, do you double down and get like the best player available in Abdul Carter, the pass rusher for Penn State, and say, hey, we're just going to get Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns all on the same defensive line front for at least 1 damn year, and then we'll figure out what we do with the crew going forward?
Yes. Everything you said, yes.
Is that a Bill Parcells tactic right there? Like,
yes, they're not going to pick a quarterback at number 3 when the other 2 are gone.
Yeah, of course.
I just can't imagine that. Some people said it, and I don't care if that's their opinion. I just go, there's no way. You just can't do that. So, yeah, whoever they think. You know what? Abdul Carter, I watched him, even just watched him on TV during the year. I go, oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say. I don't want to throw the name Lawrence Taylor out there, but I did. or Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
that just got that speed and they're so limber. But the big thing, and would worry me, the stress fracture in the foot. So if that turns out to be not even a thought about it being a problem, then I would probably be very surprised if they didn't take Abdul, Carter there. So
All right, cool. All right.
yeah.
Well, before we get further down the rabbit hole, okay. Bet Online, the world's most trusting betting platform and your number one source for all betting madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is the ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds from everything from college basketball to $200,000 bracket contests, Bet Online continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and every game and every play. Bet Online, the game starts here. So, Big Phil.
Yes.
All right. We did a little Giants talk. Okay.
How about the Jets?
How about the Jets? Okay. Talk to me. What do you think about Justin Fields, the Jets, Tyrod Taylor? No chance of them drafting a QB.
No. Shador Sanders to the Jets. I think that window closed the second that they went out and got Justin Fields. Now, I'm really interested in many things. I don't like the move. I love the move. I really did.
Right.
And Aaron Glenn, new coaching staff, they're going to be in pads. They're going to do some hitting this year in practice. It ain't going to be, hey, let's go out there for another walkthrough today. No, that ain't going to happen with Aaron Glenn because we saw that when we watched Hard Knocks down in Detroit. Man, they would load it up some days and just go after it.
Right.
But, I think the quarterback situation for him is really, really good. And, Justin Fields, I did watch his games last year very closely. And they're going to do somewhat the same thing, but I think a little more elaborate. It's going to be more play action passes because Engstrand, and I got to learn his name too. I got to look it up. But he was at Detroit. And so he understands that offense, what they were doing. He was part of it. So I expect more play action passes. And then two, with Justin Fields, let's let him run more just when he doesn't like what he sees. But the Steelers did a pretty good job in this respect. Very careful, this, that, whatever. But then they would always find a way to move him one way or the other. Right. And he's got a really, really strong arm. And he would make these deep, deep crossers throws to the other side of the field. And most of the time he did it, those guys were wide open. Right. Because you just get used to seeing what they do. And I just expect it. And, I know he's got a lot of talent, but he's got to put it – I got to see more of it, more consistently. And, you hear me say all the time, can you make all the routine throws routine? Mm-hmm. And I got to see that. But he does throw a good pass. In other words, he throws it with power. He spins the crap out of it. And I think it's easy for me. I didn't see anybody watching the Steelers go, he's just throwing it too hard. They can't handle it. Hell, I've talked to many receivers, Matt. I said, can they throw it too hard? No, get it to me as fast as you can because I want to catch it and run. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to have that opportunity with him. It reshapes who they are as a football team. It's going to be tougher. It's not going to be, we're not going to just try to outsmart you. We're going to just try to out-hit you. And this Jet thing, I'm excited to see how they play it. And, of course, Tyrod Taylor, great dude, great guy to learn with. And if he has to come in and play, if he stays healthy, he's going to win games for you. It's not far off. Tyrod's really a starter who is enjoying life as a backup and ready to play. And I'm sure he's great in the medium rooms too and talking to the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like the high character guy that every team wants on their roster because that he's going to come to work prepared. He's going to work hard. He's going to motivate others, and he's going to do his job well at a high level. And that's what you want, especially at that position. And for the Jets, I think you hit the points that really are the main focus for this football team. We're going to see Justin Fields use his legs more. We're going to see them try to utilize his legs more consistently within the basic foundation of this offense. Right. I see this offense being a little bit of a hybrid of what we saw in Detroit and what made Matt Stafford so successful with the play action passing and just Jared Goff, I said Matt Stafford. Seeing just like the pure under center play action pass, obvious run sets, runs out of them, passes off of them. Then we're going to see more of that shotgun quarterback run design plays, quarterback check with me type of plays, where then it's that mix of what the Philadelphia Eagles did extremely well last year with Jalen Hurts and giving him the ability to say, hey, we can run quarterback draw here. If not, we could throw the screen to the receiver, or we could check to this play instead. So having just those multiple ways to attack defenses with an athletic quarterback, I think is really like the key foundational piece for this Jets offense going forward. And the good thing is, too, with a veteran quarterback, he can assume that same role to an extent as far as what they do. Maybe not quite the same as far as the running stuff, but still can be serviceable in that field.
Good point. Yeah. You just said something that didn't hit me until you said it. Veteran quarterback. He's not a rookie anymore. So, it's not like we got to start this process completely over. And it just hit me. And I go, wow, that makes me even think better about what the Jets have done. Just putting it in that context.
Yeah, they have 2 veterans on their roster.
Yeah.
And that's where you're right. The Jets need to demand exactly kind of what you're asking of Justin Fields, too, of just when we get you easy completions, we got to capitalize on all these easy completions.
Let me say, Matt, you talk about these easy completions. That's exactly, I wrote it down. They did it with Jared Goff. Jared Goff doesn't have the quickest release in the NFL.
Right.
So, but they did what? Run the ball, make you think, and just trying to even the game out. But their play action passes were deep drops after the play fake. Good play faker, Jared Goff is, man. He got the long ass arms, sticking it out there, and he pulled it back, and he would wait. But the routes were deep. So just saying all that, that's easier to read and make good decisions because you've spread the defense and, the crossers. I mean, how many in cuts, 15-yard square ins, just so everybody understands. How many of those did Jared Goff hit a game? It just seemed like, do they do this every week? And the answer is yes, they do.
Right.
And he could rip it in there. And Justin Fields is going to have that same opportunity. He'll be able to, I'm not worried about his power, that's for sure. And I think he gets a little downgraded in this respect. I think he's a much more accurate thrower than we give him credit for. Go look at, you and I can do this with our equipment. Go look at 100 passes real fast and just tell me how many of them he really misses. There's not many. So
and that's one of his crutches, I think, too, is that when he doesn't feel super confident about the decision, he'll hold on to the football. Yeah, and he's played for teams. Unlike maybe like Jalen Hurts, for example, with Philadelphia, who does the same thing because he is protected well. He isn't going to make a rash decision suddenly. Unfortunately for Justin Fields, he hasn't had that backdrop of a really good team or an offensive line in front of him to kind of protect him in those certain situations. The other aspect, too, right, that we saw be so successful for Jared Goff in that offense is the screen game, the screens to the running back, screens to the receivers. If that's something that they can get Justin Fields acclimated to in this new Jets offense, that's great because those are momentum plays that make your quarterback feel like, oh yeah, hey, I'm really doing great. I feel confident. I'm 5 for 6 to start the game, and not one pass has been across the line of scrimmage yet. So that's a big piece to molding this quarterback into this new look offense for Angstrand.
Yeah. Well, so true. It's funny. I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought a lot about just following everything about the Jets. And all of a sudden this conversation's got me thinking, well, my expectations are going up.
Yeah. Kind of like it.
What I expect. Yeah. You start putting it together and you just go, I like their chances. They got a lot of good players on that football team.
They do.
And I think in many ways, physically, mentally, game plans, just let's keep going on and on. I think they were let down, the players. Maybe they weren't pushed enough. I don't know. I'm not the guy to come to and say, hey, no, you got to be tough with the players.
Yeah.
It's a tough game. Winning is really, really hard. And the fact that it's so tough, you need somebody to keep it going that way.
Yeah.
Make you tough and your team and everything. That's, everybody goes, oh, you just can't coach guys like that more. Come on, stop it. Yes, you can. Because once you coach them that way, they're going to win. And all of a sudden, hey, you don't care what the price is when it comes to winning. You practice hard, be tough, honest in the meeting room. You don't care. Let's just get it done. And when you win, the old say, it cures everything. You know that, and I know it.
That's right. That's right. And, and that's where we go back to that discussion we had even earlier on when Aaron Glenn first got signed as the head coach. Just like the fact that he's taken just like a super hands-on approach and just he's planting his flag down and just saying, this is how we're going to run the football team. Buy in or don't. We'll take care of the rest from there. And I think it's going to pay huge dividends for them going forward. I wanted to share this one little fun fact with you because we're talking about money, quarterbacks, all that kind of stuff. And how sensitive people out there are just plain jealous, man. But NFL teams, according to Adam Schefter 2 hours ago, NFL teams have signed players to $4.88 billion in player compensation this offseason. $2.1 billion guaranteed at signing. So that's the money that we're talking about for the NFL going forward. It's not getting smaller. It's only getting more and more.
Listen, it's going to get bigger. I said it to you.
It's on its way to be an international product.
Yes, so, you said it to you last year, Matt. Within a couple of years, we're going to see $100 million quarterback soon. $100 million a year.
Yeah.
It's going so fast. The money, everybody wants pro football on their roster on TV and everything. So, and it's going everywhere, like you said.
Yeah.
I think not this year, but the following year, every team in the NFL is going to play a game on foreign soil.
Right.
So just think about it. That's 16 games. So, and I think that's what I heard when I was over in Germany. This was the talk, and I'm not sure if I heard it from Roger Goodell or who, but that's what they're leaning towards. Everybody has to play one game somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and if I was a player, I'd say, I don't care. Can we play in a dome? That'd be the first thought. But
yeah. All right. So big guy, who are some of your winners and losers so far from this free agent offseason? Who kind of stands out to you?
Well, I didn't look at it this way, but I thought New England, I like what they did. Come on, my interest in New England's gone up dramatically. First, because Drake May, I think, just answered so many questions about what you could think of him. And I thought he played really, really well, had a great presence on the field, and of course can make all the throws, but the moves. But the other thing is Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, I think he did say this to me once when I was doing a game down there. I can't remember if it was whatever. Yeah, it was a game. And he just said something. He goes, I thought I would be the guy that come in here and we'd X and O and do it, and we're going to win that way. He goes, man, but it's about relationships and connection to the players.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Right.
And, of course, he has that because he was a player. He knew how to handle it, whichever way it came at him. He's loved football. I said to him one year late in his career, what are you going to do when it's over? He goes, I'm going to go to Ohio State and coach football and just boom, And he didn't have any interest in professional football at the time, but he's made some pretty good decisions since then. But I just think his way about the way he is, his strong leadership skills. And, let's be honest, when Mike Vrabel walks into the room, Matt, you're sitting there as a player, well, I think I'd sit up straight. I mean, he's a big dude and, he could be scary at times. So, but I mean, he has that ability to really control players. They know he did it. He's been successful as a head coach, and he's going to give them a great chance to win a lot of games up there in New England.
Yeah, some notable signings for them.
Yeah.
Milton Williams, 4 years, $104 million. The defensive lineman from the Philadelphia Eagles. The one thing that Vrabel said is just, hey, be ready. You got to play more. He's a good example of that. Only played about 24 snaps in the Super Bowl, but did have 2 sacks in that football game and a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. So we know that he's productive. Carlton Davis III, 3 years, $60 million as well. Harold Landry, a guy that he's very familiar with from his Tennessee days as a edge pass rusher, got him signed to a 3-year deal. Robert Spillane, really like this pickup too, because I think he's just like a tough, gritty football player that is going to play exactly the way that Vrabel wants his middle linebackers to play. Morgan Moses, 3-year deal. They even got Matt Collins over there from Buffalo now on the roster. So they really did a great job, I think, of upgrading just key veteran football players that are proven, that know how to win big time games. So he's added that leadership again to the locker room as far as just all the players that they've accumulated this offseason thus far.
Yeah, it was a great job. It really was. And, I know they suffered through the year last year and they understood it and why they're going to suffer. And now they're changing everything or getting more to it. A new coach, of course, new players. So, yeah, New England's going to be somebody that, we're all going to be interested in following this year. And I think there's many reasons why. The young quarterback and the coach that literally, I have not heard one person TV or read one article where they don't have great faith in who Mike Vrabel is going to be and how they're going to succeed.
Right.
So, you hear all this and what it does, I think it just makes the players go, wow, we have a greater chance this year and of course than we did last year. That's going to be fun to follow.
Cooper Kupp, still a free agent as of now. Haven't heard anything yet. The Seahawks have been up there. The Cowboys have been up there as far as teams that potentially are interested in the veteran receiver. What do you think as far as a good landing spot for Cooper Kupp? Who needs him more, the Cowboys or the Seahawks with their current wide receiver situations?
Oh, with those two, boy, that's a good one. I would say the Cowboys.
Okay.
One, because CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cooper Kupp, a veteran, I always thought if Stafford came to the Giants, I remember going, damn, they're going to get Cooper Kupp too, because he is he's that slot receiver who's got all the bag of tricks you need. He's very good at shaking, making a few moves to get open. Is he going to run 60 yards for a touchdown? No. But man, in big situations, like we saw Wes Welker, Julian Edelman do, I just kind of expect the team that can design that for him on their offense. Right. He's going to be a great success. Yeah. And then if you put him over there with a really good receiver next to him somewhere, he's going to have even more, good plays. So
I agree. I think really, and I'll take it from this point of view. I think for Cooper Kupp, his best situation is also in Dallas because of CeeDee Lamb's presence. They already have Jalen Tolbert on the roster. They just re-signed Kevontae Turpin as well. So that's three receivers there that I think Cooper fits in well in that mix with those other three receivers as far as what they can do and what he brings to the table. In Seattle right now, you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's a really good football player. He's essentially the exact same player as Cooper as far as their style, as far as slot receivers and like his role in the offense. So I don't really know that Cooper or Jackson can really help the other one do better or be more productive outside. So I think for Cooper Kupp, the best spot really would be with the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott and their current situation.
I was thinking about Cooper Kupp the other day, and I'll be dang, I thought of his father's name, and I forgot it. His father played on the West Coast in college, and he came to training camp with the Giants. Right. I do remember him going, he's a good-looking guy. But, he could throw it. I don't think how long he was with us, but whatever. I just go, wow, small world. His dad was up there, and now he's playing in the NFL, and I guess Dad never thought about trying to teach his son to be a quarterback. He made a good decision. Let him stay at wide receiver.
Yeah, it's worked out well for him, and I think he also I think he had another family member that was in the NFL too. But yeah, Cooper comes from a football family, and he's definitely going to be a good add to a roster that like I said, I think already has receiver one solidified, and then he can kind of work off of that significant that player.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Go ahead, big guy.
I'm still looking at all these draft picks and trying to do that, and not as versed as you are about this. But when you think, hell, I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, the Cleveland Browns, because they're the second in the draft.
Yeah. And,
would they be willing to, I wonder, to move up to get Cam Ward? Would they do, their quarterback situation? And, you got to look at it and think, the organization, the coach, Kevin Stefanski, they got to be a little in trouble for how the team has played and what they've done.
I would think that them and the Giants, right, 2 and 3, are both in a situation where they need to have a decent start to the season for them to just fight off the initial "what are we doing" conversations. For the Giants, I mean, we saw it even last year. It didn't even take a week or two before people were starting to ask those type of questions. So for both of these franchises, they need to start fast. They need to look impressive. For the Browns, yeah, the next best quarterback is Shador after Cam. If you don't get Cam, then are you comfortable with getting Shador? Are you comfortable with building your team around Shador and everything that's gone through? Like some of that process of the draft and the combine and all that, there's been some really interesting reports on Shador and the way that he's carried himself in those interviews and how people have interpreted that and all that. So is that something that the Cleveland Browns are really ready to do with already what they have on their roster and what's going on with it currently? Even if I was a part of Shador's camp, I'd say, do you really need to play in Cleveland? I don't know, man. I think I'd try to tell you to do a little Eli Manning thing and say, no, we're not playing. You better trade me. I don't know. That's just kind of my 2 cents. I think Cleveland's a little bit of a scary situation. I think that there's a lot going on there, and I'm not really sure if a pick at 2 for a quarterback is like the quick fix for anybody.
Well, let's see. We got Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and we got 3 teams. Is Cleveland in on that? Maybe. I think Russell Wilson's there today. I forgot. Whatever. But
he was there yesterday. He's at the Giants today.
Yeah.
I don't think the Browns are in for Aaron Rodgers at all. So that's not possible. I think, for the Browns, it's really Russell Wilson. And then from there, I guess the draft.
They do have Kenny Pickett, so they kind of solidified the position a little bit. Do you want him to be your starter? Maybe, but most likely they'd like for him to be the backup to somebody and feel good about the backup because, man, they go through some quarterbacks down there in Cleveland. Right. It's like a Rolodex and just keep moving them in and throwing them out.
That's right.
It really is. It's sad. But, and the team just fell apart last year. And I wonder when you fall apart like that, can you really regroup and get it going in the right direction again? I don't know. I think it's going to be really tough. And for the Cleveland to go out there and have faith that they're going to have a good football year just because of everything that's going on. Myles Garrett, we signed him. He did it, whatever. Yeah. And now looking for the quarterback once again. We got Deshaun Watson. I don't know what year it is for his contract, but damn, they're sitting there going, when's it going to end? So it's a terrible situation. And Kevin Stefanski, I will say this about him, man, he never shows his emotions on the sideline. Man, if I was coaching, I think about it sometimes, I'd have thrown so many clipboards down on the ground and whatever, because they had that thing going where if they were winning the game, they would try hard to find a way to lose it. And they did a good job of that. So,
and more recently too, in the past 20 some odd hours, Gardner Minshew signs a deal with the Kansas City Chiefs to be their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think about Minshew magic in Kansas City?
I think he fits it better than Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
As far as a little more style that matches, Patrick Mahomes. And I know Carson Wentz, that was a tough situation. He got to play in Denver against that. They needed to win to go to the playoffs. And he didn't have a chance to even show any physical capabilities of what he could do. And was he there to be a really good backup? In fact, even though I know it was rough, I tried to judge it fairly and everything, and I was a little disappointed. He just didn't look dynamic. The ball just everything, the movement. Right. And I don't know. So people brought his name up about signing to certain things, not against him, but if I was coaching a team, even though I was looking for a backup and I really needed it really bad, it would not be Carson Wentz right now.
Yeah, right now, the most notable free agents that have yet to sign, of course, Rodgers, Wilson, we know those two. Then Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco are the 3 and 4 slots of quarterbacks that are still available that are good quarterbacks to have on your roster. Say what you want about Jameis and Joe, they still have enough capability to make some plays for you and to put up productive numbers. And we saw that from both quarterbacks last season.
Well, the first 2, they're going to be starters, looks like, no matter what.
That's right. Yeah.
They're going to be starters. And if I had to pick one of the group you said, I'm taking Jameis Winston. And yeah, I know. Oh, he throws a lot of interceptions. Okay. But he's got a personality, he's leadership, and he knows how to be a backup. And if I was one of these teams, I would not be unhappy if he came in to, especially to be our backup. So, I do look at the Giants and go, they talk about Jameis Winston, coming in if they draft a rookie quarterback, and depends on what happens. And I go, yeah, I think he'd be great for a rookie, for a young quarterback to be around. And if he has to be the backup to Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be a good backup. I mean, he's ready to play. I mean, and I don't know. I don't get tired of his act because I believe it's real.
Yeah.
And, come on. That game who were they playing down in Cleveland, that game with the snow? Oh my gosh.
The Steelers.
The Steelers, that's right. Yeah, that was truly awesome. And I don't know if I've ever rooted for a guy more in the league. Usually I just watch and enjoy. Hell, I was rooting for Jameis Winston from start to the finish. Playing along with him.
No doubt. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen when he plays, but damn it, I tune in and watch. That's for sure. And there's something to be said about that.
he's going to hit a home run or strike out. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, he is. He
takes a lot of big swings. He's not afraid. And he's not as somebody, I think Parcells said, hey, Sims, you can't be afraid to go down in flames. In other words, you just got to keep firing.
That's right.
And that's easy for you to say, Coach. But if I keep firing, I keep throwing picks, what are you going to say then? Well, I told you to keep firing. No.
That's right.
So, as he said, I got so many stories out. Playing Kansas City in 84, I throw my third pick, and it's really bad. It's like, wow, what was I doing?
Right.
And I walked the sideline. I said, oh, here it comes. He gets his finger. Come here. I said, yeah, what? Just like that. And he goes, Ron Earhart, the coordinator's upstairs. And we were just wondering, Sims, are you watching the same game we're watching? And I go, that's a good one. I just kept walking. And, so he couldn't even yell at me. It was so bad. He's like, oh, what the hell? The good thing is we came back and won the game. So
that's right. That's right. Who were you playing against this game?
Kansas City.
In Kansas City?
No, it was in New York. But what a secondary. Their secondary was sick. It was so good.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think Bill Cowher was coaching at the time, too. So I think.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's why.
Yeah, I know. So whatever. Anything else you want to do, man? I'm looking at my notes. I got all scratches out.
Okay.
We got to do.
Yeah, I got 23andMe, and Total Health is a game changer. It's a longevity platform that helps you take control of your health with a personalized plan based on your genetics, blood biomarker analysis. No more guesswork, just real insights to help you stay ahead. So if you want to be proactive about your health, just like you would be in football, get started with 23andme.com. All right, Big Phil, what else you got?
That's about it. I think the big thing is you're going to take a few days off, I guess, and everything. When you get done with your taking a few days off, it's all right. You're allowed to take a few days off during the off season, Matt.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, I know you were shaking your head like shut up, but
that's right.
I kind of really can't wait to start these quarterbacks in the draft. I think I really got a good feel for it now. And I got it. I know what I'm going to say about all of them. And I've gone pretty deep into it as far as quarterbacks that might not get drafted and all that. That's kind of fun too. You see them. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And I think a few of the times that we're going to talk, I'm going to definitely go against the grain about certain quarterbacks that what they're saying, or some of these guys that nobody talks about. I mean, my God, really there's only three that are talked about. Nobody else gets any publicity or anything at all.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's
all right. Well, we look forward to hearing that insight from you, big guy, and your evaluation of the quarterbacks. We know that you've been taking a lot of notes on that stuff. I saw your desk the other day. It's got a beautiful mind vibe to it right now. A lot of stuff going. I'm not sure. There's equations.
Oh God,
things on the wall. So, but we know that you're doing your thing and evaluating the quarterbacks. I look forward to those discussions too. We'll do that here relatively soon. So that's all we got today for Sims Complete. I'm Matt Sims. He's Phil Sims. We'll be back with more stuff here soon to talk about free agency and to prep you for this year's NFL draft. We'll see you again next time.